Ah, fit for a queen, what a sight to behold. They sparkled like diamonds and gumdrops and gold, like silk, like spaghetti, like satin, like lace. They burst out like rockets all over the place. They waved in the air and they swished in the breeze, and some were as long as the branches of trees. And still they kept growing. They popped and they popped until long about sundown they finally stopped. And now, giggled Gertrude, the next thing to do is to fly right straight home and show Lala Lee Lou. And when Lala sees these, why, her face will grow red, and she'll certainly let out a scream, and she'll fall right down dead. Then she spread out her wings to take off from the ground. But oh, with all of those feathers, she weighed 90 pounds. She yanked and she pulled and she let out a squawk, but that bird couldn't fly, couldn't run, couldn't walk. And all through the night she was stuck on that hill, and Gertrude McFuzz might be stuck there still if her good Uncle Dake hadn't heard the girl yelp, and he rushed to her rescue and brought along help. To lift Gertrude up almost broke, let's see, let's skip a page. No, almost broke all their beaks. And to fly her back home, it took almost 2 weeks. And then it took almost another week more to pull all those feathers. My, Gertrude was sore. I must have skipped a page. But then he had to bring all these people to help him carry all her feathers. And finally, when all of the pulling was done, Gertrude behind her again had just one. That one little feather she has as a starter. But now that's enough, because now she is smarter. What about that? That's a good story. Want to hear one more? There's a third one in this book. The big brag. The big brag. You stay right there, baby.
What do you think of that barn, Mom?
I think it's great. I think it's great. But I want to see the wheel turn.
Me too.
A lot of pennies?
A lot of pennies.
Good boy. Water.
Water.
I hope they got their wish.
That's where they grind the molasses over there.
Cody, stand here with me on one of these mill wheels.
I can't see on the
Stand
wheel.
on that one. Dad will take a picture. This is the kind of a wheel that grinds the corn. That's what the water wheel turns this wheel to grind the corn. Take my hand. You're standing on a mill wheel. Got it.
This way, just a little bit. Yep, you too. There's the water wheel. There we are in Kate's Cove. We just saw how they grind the corn, didn't we, Mom? That's fine. What's the battery life on that, John?
Running probably about 6 hours.
6 hours?
8 hours. 8 hours probably.
8 hours running.
Yep.
So if you're on a 2 or 3 day camping trip, you're going to be packing some double A's.
Yes, that's right. Or on a sailboat. I mean, it's really made a lot for use sailing, you know, where you have no landmarks to tell you where in the heck you are.
Well, you'd have a generator there at least.
Yeah, you have AC adapters.
I found a caterpillar!
Let's go investigate the caterpillar.
Dad, where's Where's your camera?
Yeah, let's take a picture of him. You want to?
Dad? Daddy? Daddy, could you please?
You gonna get a picture of that caterpillar?
Yeah. Could you
For your
please?
scrapbook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please open this.
All right.
Sam, if you will let me be, I'll try one. You will see. There he is, he's gonna try. Say, I like green eggs and ham. I do. I like them, Sam, I am. And I would eat them in a boat, and I would eat them with a goat, and I will eat them in the rain, and in the dark, and on a train, and in the car, and in a tree. They are so good, you see. So I will eat them in a box, and I will eat them with the fox, and I will eat them in the house, and I will eat them with a mouse, and I will eat them here and there. Say, I will eat them anywhere. I do so like green eggs and ham. Thank you, Sam. I am. What about that? He ate the whole thing, cleaned the platter, didn't he?
Well, once we made green eggs and ham.
Where?
Just eggs and ham, except it had food color, green food color.
Did you make them with green?
Yeah.
And did you eat them?
Yeah.
Pretty good, pretty good. Let's try. Well, you're a musician.
Very good
Declare
music
you
playing.
are. That's very nice, Cody. My, you learned this so quickly. Let's see if we've got another one. Oh, this is jingle bells, jingle all the way.
No, jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg.
We've got time for one more, then we have to go.
I don't know that one.
Batmobile, Vocally alone Christmas Day. Hey!
I don't know it that way. Let's see, what are some of these others?
Jingle bells, Batman
this?
smells, Robin.
Well, that's Timothy's Carol. That's a song your daddy learned in. You know, brother, come and sleep and dance with me. La-dee-da-dee. Good night, ladies. Good night, ladies. You know. No. This is Should Old Acquaintance Be Forgot.
Oh yeah.
You know that one?
This one.
Okay.
This one. I played it at school.
Did you?
Except not on this.
Get underneath the bottom water. Oh.
That's a good idea to get out the zither, Mom.
What?
Good idea to get out the zither.
Yeah.
Hadn't thought about that for a long time.
Okay. And you got it on your leg. Can't have your hand on the wire. Okay. Come on, you're doing fine. Oh, not that one.
Yeah.
Good. What? Oh, not that one.
What I do this one else?
Yeah. And then skip the next one. Way down. Down. Skip one. Good. Well, very good, because that's a long one. That was great, Cody. That was great. Backing up. It's coming after you there. Come on. Well, back it up, Jason. Back your heel. That's got it. Pretty good. I gave up on it, Charlie, and I said, well, I guess it won't work. I put it down and it started moving. It was kind of spooky, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I said, well, too bad, not going to work. And then, woof.
Well, listen to all those gears in there.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's got some real machinery in there.
If it's got one, doesn't have the one tire has lost its, one rim has lost its tire. It would move better if it had another tire on it, but I don't know how. Our
What about the
chances,
siren? How do you turn on the
I
siren?
don't know. There's a space for another battery there, but you look at it, Dad, and see if there's, looks like it might need this. Maybe this is the battery for the siren.
Okay. I'll give it a look right now.
I'm coming. Okay, we're ready. Here's some rubber bands. We'll pick when we get out there. Right, I got two in case we lose one.
I need that so bad. I need that so bad. I need it so bad. I know, I'm just gonna look down.
Wallace, your order's ready. Wallace?
Before she was cooking. That's the Jellicoe house. And anyway, then it's everybody and their firstborn.
Who you see? That's really on
Can you-
the section there.
Can you see them? Can you want to hold them up someplace?
So, that's a pretty tiny picture.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get that.
So who's up here?
Wait a minute, let me get that. You got it. Wait a minute, don't do it yet. Let me spread this up.
Okay.
At least it look give you a gooder background. Okay.
Let's start right there.
The top left-hand corner is Dad's mother and father.
Do you know them?
No, never met either one of them. They were both died before I was married. And then the little oval one in the center is Frida before she had polio.
Oh yeah. When was
She
she
was
die?
about 3 when she died. And she was the only person in Jellicoe who had polio. Nobody else did. That's the Jellicoe house.
When was she diagnosed with polio?
When she was about 3.
When she was 3.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after this, I guess. And that's the Jellicoe.
Jellicoe house.
Right.
And then that's Asbury and Tom, those two handsome young men there.
Oh, that's Dad being a very rakish pose.
Isn't that marvelous? And then the next one over here is Sally and her husband, the preacher.
When did he die?
Yeah, I don't know, Charlie. I never knew him either. He died before I got in the family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the four brothers with their father. And then then we go on down, and it's everybody and their firstborn. Here's Mary Cynthia with
I'd say 4 brothers and their father. Yeah.
you got 'em?
Yeah.
I can't think of what Mary Cynthia's son's name was.
Who's that?
That's Paul.
All right.
He was the best looking one of the brothers. I mean, they didn't either. But that's Paul and Tom's father.
And when did Paul die?
The boys were about 6 and 8, real young.
When Tom and Paul were 6 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
What did he die of?
He had heart problem.
Right.
And he knew it for a long time.
Some kind of congenital thing.
Well, I don't know. Unless they all had some kind of heart problems at one time. Asbury, of course, had the aneurysm. Man didn't, but the others did.
So he must have had, he had a heart attack or something? Or was he in his 40s, you think?
He was in his 40s probably, but no, he didn't have a heart attack because he had a long condition that he had to handle. He knew he was going to die, and he tried to make a lot of money quick. He was in the brokerage business in Bristol, just like Mahan was here.
Yeah.
But he tried to leave the family. I mean, he worked hard. But.
I see.
And let's see, that's Mary Cynthia, and her son, whose name I can't remember.
Mary Cynthia is
Dad's sister. She married a Baptist preacher.
How many siblings did Dad have?
What?
How many siblings were there altogether?
There were 4 boys and 4 girls in the family.
4 boys and 4 girls, right? So Mary Cynthia, one of the girls.
One of the girls. And then
that's her in the upper right-hand corner.
Right here.
Where?
Right here, this one.
Oh, sorry.
The round one.
All right, Mary Cynthia. And who's she got there?
Her son, but I can't think of his name at the moment.
What happened to Mary Cynthia?
She married a preacher and lived in Washington, D.C. And he is still alive. He's remarried after her death. Her daughter died, but her son is still living, but her family's kind of lost touch with him.
Huh. Okay.
And that's Frances Lynn. I never knew her either, but Frances Lynn and Jim McCall, and their oldest one is Mary Mahan, their first child.
Frances Lynn, another Dad's sisters.
Yeah, Dad's sister. And they lived out in Oak Ridge.
And that's who?
Mary Mahan. Lives in Chattanooga now, married to Dr. Jimmy Davis.
Mary Mahan. Mary Mahan is her daughter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's married to who? Mary Mahan's married to who?
Davis. Jim Davis.
Okay.
And then come on over here. That's Sally, and Mary Mahan, and Frida, and Sally's son, James Willett.
And which one's Sally?
Sally's that one, and that's Mary Mahan, and that's Frida, and that's Sally's son, James. And he was the one that got polio in the Army. And he married and had 2 boys, 3 boys, Dwight, David, and Paul. But he got polio in the Army, and then he was a medical doctor, but he never had a practice. He worked in public health after that because he was not very strong.
And what happened to him?
He died.
Yeah.
He's gone. This is Colleen and little Colleen.
So that's Colleen.
You had dinner the other night.
Oh, right.
She was Asbury's wife. She was a school teacher up in Jericho. And taught school here a lot too. Taught cooking or home ec, whatever you do in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, that's Bess and Caroline, Bess Siler, and little Caroline.
And so that Caroline is
the one who went out to the farm with us.
Right, the mother of Cherry.
Yeah. And this one is Hammock with Paul.
This is really a good thing. Who put this?
I put that together for Frida, and then when she died, I brought it home.
So who's this again, Mom? Sorry.
Frida, Mary Hammock. Faust married Paul. Married this man.
Oh, right.
And I knew her. And after Paul died, she married to Stokely, and they lived in Newport a while. And we went up to see him quite a bit. Very, very attractive.
And
then this is Tom and Nancy and
who's the baby who's Mary Hammock's got?
Paul.
Paul.
Guess that's kind of scary. All those people are gone.
Yeah.
But me, am I the only one on that page that's still with us? Not besides the babies. Babies don't come in. I'm the only one.
So that's Paul, the father of Mary Hannah. That little baby there.
Yes. Yes. But that is, it was kind of fun to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
And,
That's little Tom.
yeah, that's little Tom.
That's a good picture. So the four sisters.
Is that really going to come out? You think your camera can do that?
I don't know.
Well, let's see what you want to see. That's the Julian family, the ones that lived in Harriman. Lou, Julian.
This is who?
But yeah, you're in your own shadow. I'm going to put
That's
that
all right.
over on the bed. Do you want me to?
It's okay.
Yeah. That's Walter and Lou. Aunt Mildred's mother, your my daddy's mother and father. Aunt Mildred's mother and father. You with me?
Lou
And Walter.
and Walter.
And he was a banker.
Your grandparents.
Right. I never knew him. I knew her. Here they are. Here they are again. That's a good picture.
It is.
That's a good picture of them too.
Right. So.
And this is my mother when she was about 16, I think. Can you get her there?
Mm-hmm. It's your mother at age that you look like her. Your mother.
Mother was in love with a high school teacher in Kingston. Have I told you this, John? And her folks didn't want her to marry him, so they sent her to Austria with Uncle Dr. Jones. He went over to learn how to do a tonsillectomy. Nobody in Knoxville had ever done a tonsillectomy, and he went over there and they stayed about 8 months. And he studied, and it broke up the romance. Mother came back and didn't marry the teacher. So.
How old was she at that time?
Well, high school, 16, I guess, 17, 16. But she was a very good-looking woman. Take a picture of Mother, because she was a beauty.
And how was who was Uncle Doctor exactly?
He was Mother's uncle. His, let's see, Mother's mother was his wife's sister. He married Mother's aunt.
And what was his name?
Dr. C.B. Jones.
And why was he called Uncle Doctor?
Because there were too many other Charlies in the family. He was Charles Jones, and there were a million other Charlies, so he was just, instead of Uncle Charlie, he was called Uncle Doctor.
Okay.
That's Tom's mother.
What's her name?
I can't think right now.
We just saw her downstairs, didn't
we? It's an odd name.
And this gentleman here?
That's Tom's father.
All right.
That's Tom's father. You're getting them. I don't know who these people are. You have to look and see. This is this lady when she was younger. And this is her sister.
So this is
my grandmother, your great grandmother.
your grandmother on whose side?
On father's side.
Your father's mother.
Father's mother.
At age 16.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you know about her?
It's this one. I knew her. She was bedridden when I moved back here. But she was a sweet little old lady. She was strong-willed. She was powerful. Ah.
Do you have any memories of her? Any anecdotes or anything you could share?
No, not really. Not right off. Not right off.
And who's that in your hand?
That's her sister. I never knew her. But her name was Nancy Jones.
That is a cute frame.
It's a beautiful little frame.
It's your daddy. Looks like he's about 20 years old.
He went,
How old was he when he got married?
I don't know. He went to Webb School over in Bulba. Oh, this is 1952. Yes, Dad and I weren't married. And we were engaged, but we weren't married. We were married the following February. And this was on my birthday. He'd gone to New York to a ball game. And he called me. And he said, "Happy birthday, Nancy. Let me tell you about the game." And it turned out to be a very famous game.
You were dating but not married.
Yeah, we were engaged to be married.
You were engaged.
But
52, and you're both living in Knoxville.
yeah, I guess it was 51.
1951 World Series.
51 World Series.
The Dodgers versus the Giants.
Yes. But see, they'd already printed the wrong tickets. Who's this? The Yankees thought they were going to be in the World Series, and they'd already printed their tickets to play, and then he hit that home run, Thompson's home run. And Dad never got autographs, but he was so excited about this game, he got all the players to autograph it. So it's got
The players for who?
the baseball players.
Leo DeRocher, right?
Yeah,
And there's Sal Maglio.
Yeah.
And
But I gave you a copy of that one. I had a copy, didn't I? I'm sure I did.
I don't remember.
It's in here someplace. Let's see.
And who made this thing on the did the poster?
I did that. It was up in the attic for years, and then I decided to bring it down. And oh, look! This is a picture I had made of me. It's a matter of fact, John Ferguson's father did it a long time ago, and I never gave it to you because the eyes are so funny. But I think if I took it to somebody, they could fix that. I really think you can doctor photographs now. See, and Ferguson was real cute. He tried to get me not to choose this pose because of that eye. See, this eye isn't open enough.
Yeah.
And it's so I still got them, but someday I'm going to have it fixed and give you one.
I think it's a very nice photo.
It's a very nice photo.
Do you still have the proofs from the others?
And that's one of the others. No, I don't know. That's the one I had, I guess. I don't know whether they're in there or not. But someday I'm going to give you those. But I chose the wrong one, and he tried to tell me that. Those are all the wrong ones.
I think those are nice. When was that done?
I don't know, a long time ago. I never gave it to you because I didn't like it. I look kind of cockeyed. But I do have a funny eye.
Might end up on somebody's mantle someday.
What?
Might end up on somebody's mantle someday.
Right, someday.
You never know.
Someday it might. I was looking. I wanted to find that baseball thing because you can read all the signatures on the copies. I don't see it right now. I don't see. I wonder if there are any of these books, Dad's books, you want, Charlie. You ought to go through them and see.
Yeah.
Because I know you've got a couple of boxes. Oh, it's time to mention it the night before you leave. But you've got some boxes up in the attic that say "Save for Charlie."
Yeah, I know. I think that's mostly butcher files and things.
Is it?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind just saving it for Charlie for a little while longer, I'd sure appreciate it.
Well, it's all right. It's not in anybody's way, but
well, I've taken some books.
have you?
Yeah. Let's look at this for a minute. The San Francisco book.
Yeah.
That might be funny. What is this?
That's if somebody gave it to me once when I moved back here, I guess. But these were the best sports stories of the year, and it doesn't look like much, but it was really great to be chosen. And I don't know if he's in all of them, or whether he's just in this one. But,
this is a nice inscription. Mom, it says, you gotta be careful what books you're giving away. It says, "Merry Christmas, Nancy." In 1948, to remind you of 1944 to 45. Asta.
That's when we lived in Oakland and taught school, lived together. Yeah.
So who is it from?
Asta Faulkner was her name. She's dead. She died too. She's the one that I was going to go see. She lived in La Jolla. I did see her when I went to my high school reunion. But then she had moved up to Napa Valley to be when she got cancer, and to live with her daughter, and I was planning on going to see her, and she died before I got there. But this, now see here, I could still win the Open that time, Siler. It was very nice to be included in this.
Oh yeah.
They put it out every year.
Huh.
I
never knew it was in there. That's great.
I don't know whether it was in. I can't remember whether it was in these others or not. Maybe not. But these are the same type thing. This is the 48 edition. Yeah, he's got one in here too.
Really?
One golf story.
Yeah.
You ought to have those.
I'm glad you've hung on to all these, Mom.
I am. I was going to give UT all these books because, you know, I gave him all the papers and correspondence and all that stuff.
Yeah.
His files. And they weren't too interested in sports books. You know, people kind of turned their nose up. So they said, send us a list and we'll let you know if we want any of them. So they sent me back the list and they checked about 3/4 of them that they'd like to have. But I backed off because I said, well, wait, I want the boys to look at them before I do it. So they said, okay. But now a lot of them, he just, you know, they sent him out, they just sent from the publisher, just hoping that he would mention them in his column.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, too, are good books.
Uh-huh.
They're worth having. And then I've got a lot of picture books out there in the TV room that were his. That were good.
Well, yeah, and a lot of them are real evocative of that era of sports writing, you know, that it kind of gives you sort of insight into the time and Dad, just to think about it. Now, who have we got over here, Mom?
That's Mother again, in another lovely hat.
Your mother.
That's my mother.
All right. And where did she live?
She lived in Kingston and Harriman. She grew up in Kingston and then married and moved to Harriman. And they went to California. Left her husband, went to California when I was 3. This is interesting, Charlie. These are 3 early coins. There's a 2-cent piece, 1871. There's a 1-cent piece that's 1862, and a 1/2 cent that's 1804. And the value of coins depends a lot on their condition. And these are worn. These are not, I don't think they're tremendously valuable. But nevertheless, an 1804 coin is something.
Did you put that together?
Yeah. Rothery's framed it for me, and they did it so you could see both sides of the coin. Isn't that clever?
Yeah, that is. So one's in Indian head, something.
But a 1/2 cent, who knows about 1/2 cents, you know. That's an 1804.
Yeah.
And 1862 and 1871. I mean, Civil War, you know.
Well, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. And I thought that was real clever the way he framed it.
Whatever happened to those old nickel collections we used to have? All those blue books. Remember those?
Not nickel collections. What were they?
Pennies.
Pennies.
Dimes. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Tom has them. I think they were penny collections. Yeah. I think I gave the children one from that. I don't think we collected anything else. I don't know what else. Post. They were going to come in any minute. That was a scary time. Of course, it's that when they sent the Japanese to those camps, that was a terrible thing to do. But that was a panic time on the West Coast. I mean, Pearl Harbor, they realized they were next. You know, if you can do Pearl Harbor, you can do the West Coast.
Yeah.
And they were scary. They were scared.
Where were you? You were in Oakland, right?
No, I was in San Diego then.
You were in San Diego.
Yeah, I had another couple of years of school. College.
When were you in Oakland?
Graduated from college and went up there to teach school with four other teachers, and we rented an apartment on Lake Merritt, right there in downtown, almost downtown Oakland. We had a great time. Really fun. One of the teachers is still living and lives in not far from you. I was going to go see her this time when I was out there, but she was going on a trip and she was gone. Marjorie Lyons, she was there, Marjorie Kelly.
What town does she live in?
I forget.
You ought to give me her number. I'll take her out to lunch.
Okay.
That'd be fun. Well, yeah, you've got two reasons to visit. Yeah, double reason to visit. You should do that. You know.
I want to get with her. I saw her when I was out there. But no, I saw her at the high school reunion. I guess that's the last time. She went ahead and got her doctor's degree and did very well, made a lot of money publishing books. She was one of the first people who was publishing books on a second grade reading level for 8th grade students. You know, she got into that territory.
Yeah.
And she did very, very well. I mean, she used to go to book shows. She used to come to Atlanta to book shows and sell her books.
Huh.
She was the publisher. She did own the business.
Yeah, figure out a time when she'll be around. And come out there and see her. That'd be fun. Do you correspond with her?
Christmas cards. I send her a Christmas card and she calls me. And that's about it till next year. Except this time, I really did plan. I wrote her a letter and told her when I was going to be there this last trip.
Was she excited about that?
Yeah, she was going to come pick me up. I was going to go down and spend the night with her. But it coincided with the trip she was also making.
Yeah.
She travels a lot.
Does she have children?
No, never had any children. She's a real good looking girl.
Who was Uncle Ralph?
Uncle Ralph was my father's brother. And he was up in Morristown as a druggist. You went up to see him some. Remember he had that old drugstore down in the basement of his he had collected drugstore antiques. And he got to be such a great collector. People were writing him for all over the country. Do you have duplicates? Do you have an extra one of these? Will you sell me one of these? And he was. And then he left, with my help, he left the collection to the University of Tennessee Dental School in Memphis. And several local dentists, Bud Albers and several local dentists in town raised some money to help UT buy his collection. And I think they paid him $50,000 cash and they gave him $50,000 tax credit for the next 5 years or something like that. And he was very pleased. His sons, he had 2 sons, but they didn't care much about it and they didn't want to have him. So I helped him set that up. And then the Pink Palace in Memphis, there's a Ralph Julian room. It's got all his stuff in it. It has a very small percentage of what they got, but it's got a lot of his things out of his museum.
Really?
Out of his basement, out of his drugstore basement. Yeah, it's nice.
What's the Pink Palace?
It's a museum in Memphis. The dental school is in Memphis.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where all the stuff went. He's got he's got a daughter who lives here in town. And let's see, who died? Her mother died. I was fond of her mother. And I went to the funeral, and for about 6 months she and I kept in touch. And she was coming to London once, and I wrote you about it, but I don't know whether she ever did or not. She travels a lot with a company, some kind of company that she works with. She travels all over the world. And she's an interesting, she's offbeat. She was a hippie type, obviously, when it was fashionable to be a hippie, and now she's kind of a gray-haired hippie. But she's a businesswoman. And very lively.
How old is she?
Well, let's see, I don't know. I would guess she's 40.
Right. And she's Uncle Ralph's daughter.
She's Uncle Ralph's granddaughter.
And she lives here?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, very close to But you know, that was one of the first things that we noticed, Mother and I, in California. Out there, everybody was so new to the state, nobody knew anybody else's grandfather, you know. And in a way, it's very nice because everybody comes with kind of a clean slate.